ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
So here in mineral nutrition chapter, let us talk about nitrogen cycle. Guys, in your lower classes you may be studied about biogeochemical cycle. What is biogeochemical cycle? Bio means living organisms, geo means soil, chemicals means what chemicals are getting transferred. So we can take nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, and these are nothing but cycles. So these cycles, they keep on get transfer from one component to other component, bio to geo, in the form of chemicals. Bio means from the living organisms. Living organisms are made up of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, different type of minerals. And these minerals, when bio means living organism, when it undergo death and decay process, all the nutrients are added to the soil. Right. From the soil, microorganisms will break down the chemicals and releases the components into the atmosphere. Again from atmosphere, absorbed by living organisms, from there enters into soil. So it is nothing but biogeochemical cycles. Okay, biogeochemical cycles. Now in that, let us in lower classes you may be studied about water cycle and sulfur cycle and all that, but in mineral nutrition, if you observe the minerals, the major and the most important macro element, so you know elements are two types, micro elements, macro elements. Major macro element is nitrogen. So let us talk about nitrogen cycle. Now you know that atmospheric nitrogen has to get converted into available form. Plants cannot make use of atmospheric nitrogen directly. Plants cannot take atmospheric nitrogen directly. They cannot absorb nitrogen directly from atmosphere. So it has to convert into nitrate form or nitrate form or in the form of ammonia. Then only it is possible for the plants to take up the nitrogen. So here nitrogen is converted in the form of nitrite or in the form of nitrate or in the form of ammonia. So this is the first step of cycle called as nitrogen fixation. The first step is called nitrogen fixation. So what is nitrogen fixation here? The conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into either maybe nitrite or maybe nitrate or maybe in the form of ammonia. Conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into nitrite, nitrate, ammonia, it is called nitrogen fixation. It is called nitrogen fixation. How nitrogen fixation is done? Nitrogen fixation occurs by three methods. It occurs by three methods. What are the three methods? The first one is physical nitrogen fixation, and the second one is what we call man-made or industrial nitrogen fixation, and the third one is biological nitrogen fixation. Okay, so there are three ways. It may be first one. What is the first one? A physical nitrogen fixation. What is the second one? It may be by a man-made or industrial nitrogen fixation, or it is what is called a biological nitrogen fixation. So any one of the method can convert atmospheric nitrogen in the form of nitrate, nitrate or ammonia. So what is physical nitrogen fixation? So if you look at the physical nitrogen fixation, so I am writing this side. Okay. So here physical nitrogen fixation, it happens by a natural processes like lightning, tendering, or maybe by what you call forest fire, or exposure to UV rays. So these all are nothing but what? Unnatural processes, you know, lightning, thundering, right, at the time of rainfall, or in generally when temperature is so high, then there may be occurrence of forest fire or exposure to UV rays. See, these are the natural processes what generally take place in environment, that is physical processes. What are physical components of atmosphere? You know, temperature, pressure, humidity, moisture content, these all are called physical components. So what is physical nitrogen fixation here? Physical processes like lightning, thundering, forest fire, UV rays, rainfall, and these converts atmospheric nitrogen into nitrite or nitrate, then it is called as physical nitrogen fixation. Then what is the second one? Man-made or industrial nitrogen fixation. So here man has what is that? He has wonderful ability in the place called industry. He invented so many chemical reactions, and one of the chemical reaction, one of the achievement is through chemicals at the place called industry, he could able to convert atmospheric nitrogen into the form of nitrites and nitrates, or maybe in the form of ammonia. So how it is possible? In your chemistry you might be studied about Haber-Bosch process. So if you have not studied this, maybe you are going to study in your second year. In this process, it is a chemical reaction where atmospheric nitrogen condensed to form nitrates or ammonia. If not this, so industrially by maintaining high temperature, anthropogenic activities, many activities where use of what you call enzymes or catalyst, where you know some of the chemical processes where at the place called industries, yes, it is possible to convert atmospheric nitrogen into nitrites or ammonia. Then third one comes what is called biological nitrogen fixation. So this biological nitrogen fixation occurs in legumes. Legumes generally they belong to Fabaceae. So in the root, in the very first year root modifications you studied. Fabaceae members, legumes contain what are called root nodules. Root nodules are mainly helpful for nitrogen fixation. So this is the main pathway. We are going to study this pathway, don't worry. Root nodules and nitrogen fixation is the main pathway. We are going to study this pathway. We will come back to biological nitrogen fixation at the end of the nitrogen cycle. Presently you try to remember what are the three methods how nitrogen can be fixed in the very first step called nitrogen fixation, that is by physical nitrogen fixation or maybe by man-made or industrial nitrogen fixation. Third one is biological nitrogen fixation. This is very important one. We will come back to this part at the end of nitrogen cycle. Now with these three processes, nitrite, nitrate, ammonia are get produced in the environment. Yeah, let us continue from there. Sorry, I adjusted this a clear place view for nitrogen cycle. Let us continue here. What is the first step? Nitrogen fixation, right? Nitrogen, what is nitrogen fixation? Conversion of nitrogen into nitrite, nitrate or ammonia, right? Let us continue further. This nitrite or ammonia is absorbed by plants. So, the nitrite or nitrate available in the surrounding environment absorbed by the plants. So the nitrate will go and accumulate in the plant, it will go and assimilate in the plant. That comes on the second step called as nitrogen assimilation. Okay, now it is adjusted. I hope it is clearly can be visible. What is the second step called? Nitrogen assimilation. What happens in nitrogen assimilation? Nitrite or nitrate converted ammonia, whatever are converted, are now slowly absorbed by surrounding plants. From the plant, in the plants, once nitrogen is taken, what happens within the plant? Nitrate or nitrite is absorbed into the plant, and in plants, nitrogen is used for formation of pigments, vitamins, hormones and nutrients. All this amino acids and proteins, all these are produced with the major component called nitrogen or nitrate components. Once nitrate is absorbed into the plants, in plants nitrate is used for formation of pigments, vitamins, hormones, nutrients, amino acids and protein. What exactly meaning of that? So here these nitrates are used by plant in making these compounds. That means nitrogen will assimilate within the plant in these forms. Nitrate will accumulate within the plant in these forms. Right. Next, then plants are consumed by animals. So when plants are consumed by the animals here, when plant and animal undergo decomposition that causes death and decay of organic matter. When plants are being consumed by animals, when plants and animals both will undergo death and decay process, that is called decomposition. What is decomposition? Breakdown of organic matter into simpler particles. That's called death and decay of organic matter. That releases ammonia into the soil. So when both plants and animals undergo death process, when dead bodies are lying on the soil, decomposes means microorganisms will break down large complex molecules into simpler molecules, and all simpler molecules what are released contain ammonia. So this is the third step called as ammonification. What is the third step called? Ammonification. Now this ammonia get converted into nitrite, and that is again get converted into nitrate, and again get converted into nitrite, and again back into atmospheric nitrogen. The process of conversion of ammonia into nitrite, it's called the fourth step called as nitrification. The process of conversion of ammonia into nitrite, it's called as what? Nitrification. Nitrification is done with the help of nitrifying bacteria. It is done with the help of nitrifying bacteria. What are nitrifying bacteria? Actually the nature is chemoautotrophs. These nitrifying bacteria are chemoautotrophs. They are chemoautotrophs. Guys, you know photoautotrophs, chemoautotrophs. Nitrifying bacteria are chemoautotrophs. What are they? Nitrobacter, or we say Nitrosomonas, Nitrosococcus. Okay, very important. So here Nitrosomonas, Nitrosococcus both will come under nitrifying bacteria. What do? They convert ammonia into nitrite. So this process is called nitrification. Then further nitrite undergo oxidation lead to formation of the compound called as nitrate. So this gets converted, undergoes oxidation and lead to form what is called nitrate. Until here this is called nitrification. Until here this is called as what? Nitrification. Now further what happens? Nitrate once again get reduced to form nitrite. Nitrite get reduced back into atmospheric nitrogen. So this is what? Atmospheric nitrogen. This is the process called as The fifth step, denitrification. This process is called as what? Denitrification. So what is denitrification? Up to nitrification is what? Ammonia converts into nitrite, nitrate converts into nitrate. This is called nitrification. Again, nitrate will reduce to form nitrite, nitrite to atmospheric nitrogen. From here to here, the total process is called denitrification. Denitrification happens with the help of denitrifying bacteria. Which is denitrifying bacteria? Nothing but Pseudomonas as well as Thiobacillus. Pseudomonas as well as Thiobacillus. These are called denitrifying bacteria. Finally, atmospheric nitrogen get back to its place. This is called totally nitrogen cycle. Let's come back to this. How ammonia converts into nitrite and nitrate. This step is very, very important. So, I am writing the fourth step. What is the fourth step? Nitrification. So, how this nitrification happens here? So, we take ammonia. Ammonia undergoes oxidation here. As a result of this oxidation, 2 molecules of ammonia, 3 molecules of oxygen lead to formation of 2NO2, that is nitrite. That is nitrite. Nitrite plus and 2 molecules of water. So, ammonia undergoing oxidation reacting with oxygen lead to formation of nitrite along with the formation of what? Water. Then further what happens here? Further what happens here? The 2 nitrate molecules, what you find here, NO2 minus, further get oxidized and lead to formation of what is called as nitrate. NO3 minus, this is called nitrate. So, these 2 steps happens in nitrification with the help of nitrifying bacteria. What are they? Nitrosomonas and Nitrosococcus. So, here you can write Nitrosomonas, you can write, for your understanding here you can write Nitrosococcus. So, this is fourth step, and come back to this is fifth step. This is denitrification. Once again nitrate reduced to form this and finally get back what is called nitrogen. This is called nitrogen cycle. So, let us come back to the last part. What is that? Biological nitrogen fixation, the third part. What is this third part? It is nothing but atmospheric nitrogen convert into nitrite or nitrate or ammonia with the process called 3 processes. In that one of the process we have to continue our discussion. What is that? Biological nitrogen fixation. Right. So, what happens in this biological nitrogen fixation? So, here this happens as I told you in legumes or we call Fabaceae. So, in Fabaceae what happens? In legumes we can see formation of root nodules. So, what happens exactly in root nodules? For example, if I take any Fabaceae member, so if I take this is a Fabaceae member, this is nothing but taproot, what I am drawing. You know, taproot is the one which contains what are called root hairs like this. So, this is the main root, mother axis, root hairs are present. Now, generally what happens, this is anatomy if you talk about, this is an outermost layer called as epidermis. So, here let us imagine this is nothing but the root hair and surrounding you can see soil particles. These all are nothing but soil particles. So, this is all nothing but what? Soil particles here. So, these all are soil particles here. This is the root hair. Now, the root hair will secrete some of the chemicals. Root hair will secrete the sugars. root hair secretes the sugars. Sugars will attract the bacteria called as rhizobium. The sugars will attract the bacteria called as what? Rhizobium. So in lower classes you studied very clearly that legumes shows a symbiotic association with legumes show symbiotic association with rhizobium. Yes or no? Yeah, legumes are Fabaceae members. Generally they show symbiotic association with the bacteria called rhizobium. What is this rhizobium? Rhizobium, it's a bacillus. Bacillus means it is a rod shaped bacteria. So this is called a rod shaped bacteria. Now what happens? Rhizobium will get attracted towards a root hair, and rhizobium slowly it will lyse the cell wall of this, okay, by releasing an enzyme called lysozyme. Rhizobium release an enzyme called lysozyme. What the lysozyme will do? Lysozyme causes lysis of cell wall. Cell wall of what? Root hair. So here it causes lysis of cell wall of root hair. Rhizobium, it causes the lysis. So here the bacteria will enter inside, all the rhizobium will enter inside, and they undergo multiplication and they form what is called infection thread. What I am trying to tell you here, rhizobium is a bacteria. They enter inside the root hair. How? By lysis of cell wall with the help of an enzyme called lysozyme. Inside the root hair they undergo multiplication. They produce in large number, and that forms the total entry of bacteria and forms what is called as infection thread. Now here at the tip you can see, because of so many bacteria, it makes the curl. This is called as curling of root hair. This is called what? Curling of root hair. And this is in the shape called shepherd crook shape. Okay, the curve what is produced because of so many bacteria, it looks like a shepherd crook, and it's called shepherd crook shape, and that itself is called curling of root hair. Now this bacillus, they enter inside, and this here what you find, this all are nothing but cortex cells. Inside the cortical cells you find what is called layer of endodermis. This is called endodermis. So what happens here? This bacilli undergo multiplication, enter into the cortex and endodermis, and these bacilli makes the cells to divide. So what exactly happens here? I'll continue here. Now if you take in this case, so this is epidermis. Epidermis has what is called root hair. Now here cortex cells is there. This is cortex. And what is there here? It's nothing but endodermis. Again I'll write here, this is endodermis, and this is nothing but what you call cortex. So what's happening here? All the bacilli cells entered here. The bacilli cells makes the division of cortex and endodermal cells. Cortical cell will divide, endodermal cell will divide, they will become double in their number. As a result, so many cells are produced here. As there is no much space here, this comes out like this. The newly formed cells, as there is no much space here, it protrudes out. It protrudes out, this is what we call root nodule. This is what we call root nodule. What is there inside the root nodule? Root nodule, it happens because of what? Bacilloid. Inside the cortical cells, the bacillus is present. They undergo division. Along with them, they are making cortical cells, endodermal cells to divide. Here, bacilloids are nothing but. So here, stop. So here inside the root nodule what is present? Basiloid. How basiloid is formed? How root nodule is formed? Basiloid undergo cell division. Cell division of what? Cortex and endodermis. So when both undergoing, that lead to formation of what is called root nodule. Within the root nodule what is present is called basiloid. Within the root nodule what is present is called basiloid. Basiloid means rhizobium. Rhizobium undergo multiplication, cell division. Along with that it makes even cortex and endodermal cells to divide. As a result so many cells are formed. There is no space here. All cells will come out of the root. They protrude out and they form what is called root nodule. You generally get a question, root nodule is formed due to. It's because of, this is the answer, cell division of cortex and endodermis. Now, so within this root nodule what is present? Bacteroids. What is this bacteroids? Nothing but what? Rhizobium. Then rhizobium is bacillus shape? No. Then why we call bacteroids? Because this is inside the cortex. That's why we are calling basiloid. Now listen carefully. This particular root nodule, it is pink in color or red in color. It's due to, I write here completely, it's due to pigment called leg hemoglobin. It's due to a pigment called leg hemoglobin. Very, very important. Okay, so when root nodule appears red or pink, why it is appearing red or pink in color? It's due to pigment. What is that pigment called? Leg hemoglobin. Where leg hemoglobin? Within the root nodule, here you find leg hemoglobin. Then what is present inside the root nodule? Inside the root nodule, here, listen carefully, this is nothing but so here what we are discussing, this is root nodule. Root nodule contain a pigment called leg hemoglobin, right. Within the root nodule what is present? Just now I told you, basiloids means rhizobium. What is this? Rhizobium. Now this rhizobium bacteria itself is also called as basiloids. This rhizobium itself is called as what? Basiloids. Now within this rhizobium means inside the rhizobium, within this rhizobium, inside this rhizobium, I'm talking, there is an enzyme called as, this is rhizobium, better you take arrow mark from here. This is rhizobium. Inside the rhizobium means rhizobium contain an enzyme called, what is that enzyme? Dinitrogenase. What is that enzyme called? Dinitrogenase. Rhizobium contains an enzyme. This is rhizobium. It's a rod shaped bacteria. This is rhizobium. Inside the rhizobium you find an enzyme. What is that enzyme? It's called dinitrogenase. So this dinitrogenase, this is made up of, I'm talking about now the point related to dinitrogenase enzyme. It's made up of what? Molybdenum, iron. So you can write iron, molybdenum, iron. So it contains two compartments. So it's called dimer. Structurally dinitrogenase contain iron, molybdenum, again iron. So iron and molybdenum is called one compartment, molybdenum and iron is called another compartment. Structurally it contains two compartments, it's called dimer. Then apart from this, so here this dinitrogenase, here this is highly sensitive to oxygen. That means in presence of oxygen, enzyme becomes inactive. What's the meaning of this? What happens if enzyme becomes inactive? So what is the function of this dinitrogenase? The main function of dinitrogenase is nitrogen fixation. So what is this nitrogen fixation? Conversion of nitrogen into nitrite or nitrate or ammonia. So what happens? What happens when oxygen is not there? What happens when oxygen is present? When oxygen is present, this enzyme becomes inactive, then it cannot do this function. Are you getting me? When enzyme is there, the enzyme becomes inactive, then it cannot fix atmospheric nitrogen. Nitrogen fixation will not take place. So here nitrogen fixation should happen means oxygen should not be required. Oxygen should not be there. But what is the scenario here? Rhizobium, it's an aerobic bacteria. Means it needs oxygen, it takes oxygen. But inside dinitrogenase, it requires anaerobic condition for activation of enzyme. Right. What is that enzyme? This is the enzyme. So dinitrogenase requires anaerobic condition for activation. Right, because enzyme itself we are talking about for activation to do nitrogen fixation. If it has to do nitrogen fixation, it needs anaerobic condition. What is this? Bacteria needs aerobic. Inside the bacteria, who is there? Dinitrogenase. Bacteria takes oxygen here. It takes oxygen here. But here it don't want to take oxygen. If it comes in contact with oxygen, it becomes inactivated and it becomes no more functioning of nitrogen fixation. It needs anaerobic condition. Bacteria needs oxygen, aerobic condition. Inside the bacteria, dinitrogenase need anaerobic condition. It does not need oxygen. Why? If it come in contact with oxygen, it becomes inactive. Then how the process will be done? What is the solution for this? Then the solution for this problem will be given by root nodule. Root nodule contains what? Root nodule is pink in color or red in color. It's because of what? Like hemoglobin. Now root nodule contains what? Like hemoglobin. Now this like hemoglobin protects. It protects dinitrogenase enzyme from the impact of or the effect of oxygen. Who will protect the dinitrogenase? Because rhizobium is taking the oxygen. Inside this is dinitrogen. Dinitrogenase don't want oxygen. Who will take care of that? Like hemoglobin. Like hemoglobin enters into the picture. It protects the dinitrogenase from the impact of oxygen. So this is like hemoglobin. This is like hemoglobin. Like hemoglobin, what it will do? Like hemoglobin protects the dinitrogenase from impact of oxygen. So here, one second, excuse me. Let us continue. So here it protects the dinitrogenase from the effect of oxygen. So that is the reason why like hemoglobin it's called oxygen scavenger. It is referred as what? Oxygen scavenger. This was a previous NEET question. Most repeatedly you will get the question in the final NEET. Very important concept like hemoglobin. Either you get like hemoglobin, if not root nodule, if not dinitrogenase. Related to the total concept, definitely you will get one question. Every year we are getting one question on this concept. Very, very important concept. Make sure that you go through once this, very, very important. So, most of the questions, most of the times it is on like hemoglobin. So, like hemoglobin concept is very, very important for the final name. So, what's like hemoglobin? It is called oxygen scavenger. Why it is called oxygen scavenger? It protects dinitrogenase from the effect of oxygen. So, this is nothing but the total story of what? Biological nitrogen fixation. So, why it is called biological nitrogen fixation? Bio means living organisms. Who is a living organism? Such a small tiny microorganism called rhizobium. And it enters into legume, it forms the root nodule, and with that it converts atmospheric nitrogen into nitrate. Biological organisms are involved. Who? Legume plant, root nodule, and the bacteria. That's why it's called biological nitrogen fixation. So root nodule supply the dinitrogenase, converts nitrogen into nitrite, nitrate or ammonia. Ammonia will be supplied to the soil. So when ammonia will be supplied to the soil is enriched with nitrite or nitrate, then the plants can make use of nitrogen from the soil. That's why it's called biological nitrogen fixation. Total concept is very important. Like hemoglobin is called oxygen scavenger. It's very important. Why means it protects dinitrogenase enzyme from the impact of oxygen. That means dinitrogenase requires anaerobic condition to fix the nitrogen. In the presence of oxygen, it will not fix. It requires anaerobic condition, means absence of oxygen, to fix atmospheric nitrogen. Who takes care of that? Like hemoglobin. It's called oxygen scavenger.